Ladies and gentlemen, we got our boy Supreme Cannon here on Mike of the Night, episode 586. And we're going to do the Elon angle tonight, right, bud?
Yeah, we'll delve into that a little bit. Yeah.
Well, here are the headlines. I'll kick off with the first three headlines. Trump sides with Elon Musk in H-1B fight. And President-elect Trump backs H-1B visas, siding with Elon Musk after tech billionaire pledges to go to war to defend the program and branded GOP opponents hateful and racists. And
I don't think Axios is a credible source. I don't think Trump has actually weighed in on this one way or the other.
Okay,
neither is JD Vance for that matter. I know he wouldn't go for that.
Okay, MAGA opponent. Okay, MAGA opponents of Elon Musk claim he stripped them of their X badges, and the debate rolling of MAGA world in recent days over visas. Highly skilled workers show no signs of abating. Some prominent online personalities are now accusing Elon Musk of using his social media platform X to retaliate against those who disagree with his support of the H-1B visa program.
Okay. Well, Musk is throwing a bit of a tantrum right now. He doesn't have the social skills to understand, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the platform in 2016, the platform this time is no more immigration. Like we're to the point, it's like, okay, we're going to limit the people coming into America. No. They want millions of people removed. And that's what Trump signed up for. That's why Tom Homan is the border czar again. Right? Like if they're trying to trickle in some really, really highly qualified, a couple 100,000 a year guys that will, write code for half the price of an American and do 80, 100 hours a week. Well, that's just corporations being corporations. It is what it is. It's the 20,000 Haitians in Springfield that are the big issue. This probably isn't the hill to die on for Trump, but I don't think he's weighed in on this because what the hell is he going to say? I mean, he's talked about, well, we need legal immigrants too. But the fact is, if it was just really qualified H-1B people, no, there's 40 or 50 million people in America that have to go because they don't qualify for any of that.
Right.
Aussie teams, Western Cooperation Society doesn't do a good job training its rank and file, only its leaders. So now it's come down to importing the talent. Oh, that's part of it. But there's lots of talented people in America and in Canada, and they can't get hired because they're of European origin. There's plenty of stories about that. No, we don't need those people. We've got plenty of people that are well educated and qualified, and they can't get hired because of quotas. That's got to stop.
The visa,
basically,
the visa that I applied for when I went to the States was I can't remember what the visa was called, but I applied because everyone qualifies under different jurisdictions for a different visa, right? So the one that I was available to apply for was the one where I had to get a corporation to sponsor me, and I had to make sure I wasn't stealing an American's job. And then I had to run ads. And then I had to make sure I had $31,000 in the bank. Mm-hmm. And I had to do a health check on my dime. And then I had to do a lot of other things. I had to make sure I had to do references, police background check. It took about 5 years of work to get all this stuff done. And the corporation sponsored me. They did all the paperwork for me. All the banking information was filled in by them. They did everything they had to do. I had to make sure I had a balance in my bank account of like 32 grand. A place in my name, which I did. The whole 9 yards. And they basically, after I got everything done, they just told me I had 28 days to leave the country or they're going to forcibly deport me. I made a video discussing this, and I had actual people in the comments saying, hey, Mike, same thing happened to me in the States. Like, same thing, under the same type of visa.
Well, you identified as Canadian. You should have applied in Spanish and identified as a Guatemalan.
Right.
You'd probably be there. You'd be there now.
Right.
So, there's quotas. A friend of mine used to work for it before it was Homeland Security. It was called Immigration and Naturalization Services, and there was all kinds of people coming over the line, and the policy they were told from on high is hold your nose and let them in. So, that's the demographic you got to be with. And you could do that. You could get away with it. So, you know, if you absolutely got to go to the States and Trump doesn't actually have some kind of Canadian workers visa that he's teasing about, then maybe, you know, maybe that's the angle to try next time.
Oh, there's no next time. I tried. I did everything by the book to become an American. And I have a video that explains it in better detail than what I'm telling you here. And I failed. And I basically was sent back basically to Canada. And I was basically told that to try back in 5 years. And I said, you forget it. I'm too old. I'm getting too old, right? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got this other headline here. Elon Musk lashes out with Tropic Thunder line, F yourself in the face if you want to end the H-1B visas. Elon Musk wrote a message on Friday to those who want to end the H-1B visa program, F yourself in the face, which is a line from the 2008 comedy film Tropic Thunder. So this is pretty intense, how this guy wants to bring in specific people. But it's so bizarre how I knew this guy was going to fall apart a long time ago. I knew this was going to be a falling out between him and Trump. I knew this guy wasn't 100% there, especially if you go back to that Mike of the Night. You were on that Mike of the Night with me when they were testing out these implanted chips that they put in pigs, remember, in 2021?
Yeah.
And we were already talking that this guy is already off the rails. And now, I mean, Trump is not even inaugurated, and this guy is already falling apart.
Yeah, it's already imploding. It's barely a month to go. Yeah, he's chosen the wrong hill to die on, and he will die on it. Because first of all, Musk has nowhere to go. He pumped a bunch of money into Trump's campaign because he wants to go to Mars, and he perceived that the other guys were going to stop him from doing that. So he's got nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to calm the fuck down, pardon the vernacular.
Yeah,
he's a billionaire. He's not, he's a head of a corporation. He's, fairly ruthless as those people are, blah, blah, blah. Yes, he's absolutely in it for the money and his own agenda. Of course, the whole PayPal mafia is like that.
Like I told you earlier today, when we were arguing, I wasn't arguing with you, but I was telling you, Elon Musk, this is like how he is. Like when he started Tesla, okay? And if he was talking about what he is talking about today, where we need to ban LGBT flags from schools, I'm like, well, thank you for letting us know that in 2024 in November. Well, thank you very much, sweetheart. Why weren't you saying it when you opened your Tesla? Yeah. Why weren't you saying it when you opened your Tesla company? Because you know they would have shut you down. He has to follow the money. He's got to keep his mouth shut for certain things and open up his mouth when it's ready.
Yeah. Yeah, the reality is if they want 50,000 or 100,000 H-1Bs from northern India, they'll get them. We don't really care. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't care. It's the 30, 40 million other people. It's the 5 million extra bodies in Canada that don't belong here. I want on. I don't care. Because those people, they're working in tech. That's not my field. It's the ones that are taking starting jobs from the kids from, Sing Hortons and the malls and wherever else. I want them gone. I don't want them here. I don't care if they're hardworking and law-abiding. I don't want them here. We don't need them, and they're messing it up for everybody else. And it's the same in America. And plus, you got 20,000 Haitians in Springfield. This was a meme. This is part of what got Trump over the finish line. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. They made TikTok videos about all that, right? Like, what the hell are they doing here? They couldn't swim. Someone brought them. They don't have money.
Do you remember back in 2020 we were covering the migrant trains and we had a gentleman on the southern Mexican border that was showing us the pamphlets telling migrants when they arrived to the southern Mexican border the fastest way to get through Mexico, and they had 60 days to get through Mexico or they would be deported back to their country on their government's dime? Mm-hmm. We were covering that in depth. And I had a lady accuse me of putting up those images of the Haitian migrants crossing the Rio Grande there. I had a lady in my town that works for the government that told me I put those pictures up on Google.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I had to bring that up, but anyways, so Elon Musk, okay, so what's the deal? So these H-1B visa, do you know what it is? Do you know exactly what this visa is for? Is it just for tech workers?
Well, that's supposedly what it's for. Now, it's, as I understand it, you could come in for anywhere if it's for a specific job that you need a specific person for. Right. There's lots of stories of people regular Americans working in corporations that wound up training their replacements, their H-1B replacements, before they themselves were fired or laid off. Right, and it's a program that started in 1990, and obviously it's been badly abused, and a lot of people have been brought in under it. That there's a lot of nepotism, right? Like Indians that come in, they take control of a corporation, and pretty soon the whole board is Indians. They tend to favor each other. They do the things that white people won't do, like favor each other, basically, right? It's racism when we do it, and it's just, it's just corporate competitiveness when they do it. Ramaswamy he was infamous for it, right? I mean, the guy talks a good line, but at the end of the day, he's just another snake oil merchant.
Well, it says here the H-1B visa.
That's it.
The H-1B visa is a non-immigrant visa in the United States that allows U.S. employers to temporarily employ foreign workers in specialty occupations. It is widely used by skilled professionals, particularly in fields like technology, engineering, finance, healthcare, and academia. So this goes back to that whole finance thing where I was talking to you about earlier about this lady from India who is in Canada on a visa. It's not this visa for America. It's a different visa. She's here working because Canadians don't want the banking job she has, making $160,000 a year. She's been 3 years in Canada, and the bank sponsored her, paid for her to come from India to do a job, and she was saying in the interview that Canadians don't want to do these jobs. So she had to come from India to get paid $160,000 because Canadians don't want to do this.
It's just gaslighting. They just tell you that to your face. Well, Canadians don't want the job. What do you mean Canadians don't want the job? They never got the opportunity to have the job.
Thank you.
But you're right. But, they don't want the job. They just lie to you. It's just another abusive relationship. In the end, that's all it is. Yeah, well, we need them, to do the jobs those lazy Canadian American kids won't do under the table 80 hours a week for $5 an hour because they're lazy. You know what I mean? Like that's how it is. Like you saw the lady, the realtor, oh yeah, we're doing good here, bro.
Yeah, we're rolling.
They come over here. They come over here and they buy a bunch of investment properties that were probably single family homes for families wanting to start out before they got here, right? And then they've crammed them full of their own, so they can be slumdog millionaires on our side of the Atlantic. And and they're jaded X, nepotism plus identity politics is a recipe for disaster. Absolutely. Look at native bands. It's rampant there, and they're absolute third world crap holes. They're a disaster.
They throw the Canadian resumes in the garbage. That's 100%. And I spoke to a a district manager for a big fast food chain. I made an independent video about this in 2017, where he told me, he came to talk to me face to face because he didn't want to email it. He didn't want it to be on record. So he came to see me face to face, and he told me that whenever a European or someone of Europe or a Canadian applies for a job at his fast food establishment, he's been told by the regional management and higher levels to actually destroy the resume so there's no proof of that person applying for the company, because they won't get hired, because Canadians form unions, and if they get migrants to do the job or immigrants to do the job, then they could threaten them by sending them back home.
Yes, it's effectively slavery. Yeah, they come over here and they're indentured servants. They get paid what they get paid, and I think they're probably expected to send a lot of that money back home, because this ain't their home. Let's keep it real. And they have to do what their boss tells them. It's horrible, and a lot of those people, to be fair, okay, and I've said this before, and you know this too, Mike. A lot of these people, they got snowed to come over here too. They got fed a pack of lies about what life would be like when they got here too. There's a lot of them, they turn around and go home when they can afford it. It's like, forget it. There's nothing here for me. I want out. And that's the thing. Canada is cold. I mean, the people may be nice, although I found Canada to be cold more than just in terms of weather in many aspects, unfortunately. unfortunately. But yeah, the place is, got ruthless weather. We're only able to thrive because of our infrastructure, and if you don't have the people to build and maintain it, guess what? It's not going to last.
Right.
The basis of our prosperity is eroding underneath us, and you could sit and trade condos back and forth all day, but if you reach a point where the power won't push the water up past the third floor, what are they worth now?
Yeah.
Like, this is just nonsense. Yeah, I've been screwed by old stock Canadian too. Oh Lord, yes. Yeah, I had a little sawmill, and I tried buying lumber from, local woodland owners and stuff like that. And it was just bizarre, the kind of garbage that we'd make a deal and then they'd ship to me. Mm-hmm. It was disgusting. Like, there is something in the air that a lot of people in Canada are quite ruthless. They're not nice people. I mean, look at wartime, It's basically the Geneva suggestions wherever the Canadian Army goes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we're proud of that, but sometimes it's like, no, that's not right either. Well, yeah, Mitch, I watched the Canadian farmer with 8 kids who moved his family to Russia. Yeah, that's right. Russia's better run than Canada. Could do worse than to follow the Russian development model, because it's a similar kind of geographical situation. Mm-hmm. It's cold. It's very wide. It's got a few dense population centers, and then the rest of the country is virtually uninhabited. But the cost of energy for the average person living in Russia, even if incomes aren't high, their energy is practically free. Mm-hmm. Food is affordable. They grow their own. They're almost an autarky now. They can produce everything they need. They knew sanctions were coming, so they prepared for it. And they're net exporters. During the Cold War, I mean, they used to buy grain from us because their farms couldn't produce enough. Collectivism is a disaster, but now they're one of the largest grain exporters on earth. They got to figure it out.
It's because of the regulations. The regulations here in Canada. Remember, you were on the show discussing the wheat board and the corn board and all these different boards, and they tell farmers what they could sell for, what they can't sell for, and they have to follow these guidelines. It's a complete shit show here.
It is, and it cartels, right? There's a dairy cartel, a lumber cartel, a grain cartel, a natural gas cartel, a telecommunications cartel. Yes, grocery
airlines.
Cartel, Irving. I mean, the Irving family basically owns Atlantic Canada. We're kind of like, we had something similar to a civil war in Canada in about 1837 against something called the Family Compact. There were a few powerful families that they owned a few judges, and if they didn't like somebody, they could get them hung. They could get them deported to Australia, to the penal colony it was at the time. It took a few guys with balls to stand up and, at least make plain that their musket was waiting at the door if they didn't fix this. And the British government eventually intervened and sorted some things out. But yeah, it's been very corrupt in the past. And unfortunately, electrical cartel, PDS, yes, absolutely. They sold the wheat board. Who did they sell it to? Is there still a wheat board?
Mm-hmm. I don't think there is.
That would be news to me. I can remember back in the 90s, there was some farmer on the border of Montana. He said, screw this. And he took a truckload of wheat over the border. And within a few days, he got raided at 3 a.m. by a SWAT team.
AK-47s.
Well, no, M6, whatever. Yeah. Assault rifles, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Military gear, like ATF agents or something. Yeah. He kicked in his door at 3 a.m. for selling a load of wheat.
Wheat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't say weed, because the people are going, well, he's selling drugs across the wheat.
I said wheat.
Yeah, wheat. Sorry. I just want to clear that up for anyone that's got, yeah.
Well, we'll have a weed board before long, too, since it's been legalized. You don't really think they're going to let you have something for free, do you, folks?
No, of course
Come
not.
Come on now. No, we're just a tax collection jurisdiction for the UN now, apparently.
So,
sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I just have a question here for you from Urban Mystic X from Vancouver, BC.
Okay.
Basically wants to know, ask Supreme, the incredible amount of Chinese involvement in Canada, how could Canada relinquish itself from this Chinese communist grip?
That's going to be the will of the people, I think. I mean, they're basically buying and selling from each other. Some of it is going to be, it's tough. You got to talk old boomers who bought their houses in 1970 from selling them for overseas investors. That's a hard sell. You kind of can't blame them for doing that. It's going to be electoral. It's going to be where people personally choose to, where they, if a place is obviously like Tim Hortons dominated by, Indians now, you're going to have to not go there.
I have a question from an email here that just came in from Hassan Karim. Can you hear me?
Canada's in a precarious position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I lost you there. Are you back? I think we lost.
I can hear you.
Okay, no, you beeped off for a couple of seconds and you went blank. We got you back. Okay,
Hello?
I got an email here from Hassan Karim. Wants to ask Supreme Canon. He's from.
Did I lose my internet?
You're here. We can hear you. We can hear you fine and clear. Hello? Oh, we lost Supreme Canon. We have lost Supreme Canon, folks, on the show. Really sorry about that. I'm not sure what's happening, but his internet crapped out. And let's see if he calls back here. Hopefully he comes back. Yeah, we lost him. The show is very heavily monitored and regulated, right? Because I don't get paid to speak to you guys about anything. So when you're not getting paid to speak or trying to figure out what's going on, they don't like them people, right? All right, let's see if he calls back. Let me see if I can call him back. Okay, here he is right here. All right, Supreme, we got you back. Can you hear us?
Yeah, my Starlink. Musk needs to stop talking about H-1Bs and spend some money on his gear. He's been crapping out on me constantly for all month. It's just ridiculous.
Okay.
Sorry. So anyway, yeah, I managed to get back. So let's finish up before it happens again. Where the Chinese are concerned, I mean, Canada's in a precarious position, right? Because America and China obviously have their differences now, since this experiment of bringing China into the fold isn't working out for them the way they wanted. And so Canada has been wholeheartedly participating in it, and no doubt there's a lot of money and influence in the halls of leadership. I don't know how we reverse it at this point, other than I think a major economic reversal or hostilities between America and China get to the point that Canada is forced to take a side. And they're going to, because, America is right there.
Right. And the problem is, again, we got about $810 or $811 billion laundered through Canadian real estate from China. Okay, $811 or $10 billion. Hear me out.
Yeah.
At purchase price.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be $1-2 trillion now, because somebody could have bought a bunch of condos in 2014, right? Left them all empty, and now today, 2025. They're worth like almost $1 million a piece, right? So purchase price at $810 or $9 billion through Chinese. This is from China. This is not from Iran, Iraq, or whatever countries China is trying to blame for money laundering. China is trying to blame other countries for Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the blue states of America for being destroyed with their money laundering. And that's how big it is, Supreme. That's just our real estate, our farming. I could bring up the article we brought up where a Chinese family pays 100 times over asking for a farm. Okay, 100 times over asking for a farm that was appraised at $93,000 a year before. And they paid 100 times over asking for it. This is how dangerous it is in Canada. And that's why I keep telling Americans, America, your problem is Canada. Like, it's not the Canadian people, it's what we've let into our country to basically dissolve us and destroy us.
Sure, but nobody voted for that.
Of course
we didn't vote. We didn't vote to have our country remodeled into an international jobs fair with a gay disco out back. Did we?
No.
No. At no point in time did anybody say, you know what, this is what Canada needs to be. No, they just decided to do it. Yeah, Canada has been attacked by demonic death cults. Ellen Hoek. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. There's some real weird, funky people in the halls of power, and probably in the administrative state, not so much in the political arena. Right? Yeah, don't blame it. Yeah, Canada. Yeah, that's true. The crowns are part of this too. Yeah, I mean, look at King Charles. Look at that article you just showed with King Charles.
Yep.
Like the UK is in even worse shape than we are.
They are.
If we weren't next door to America, it would be worse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand, same thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're islands. They should be the most secure places in the world, but there's people pouring in from all over the world. That's not happening organically. They're not just deciding I'm going to swim to New Zealand today. I'm going to swim to Australia today. I'm going to surf, put a shrimp on the bobby.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not happening that way. How did 20,000 Haitians get into Springfield, Ohio? I mean, yeah. Jaded. I'm a weird one in the admin state, Supreme. I'm not woke. Yeah, and you probably have to be real quiet about it too, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's
well,
rough.
if you say anything,
my heart goes out to you. No shade at all. You know, we got to have a state. But the idea of a nation state, the Westphalian model, is it preserves and protects and prioritizes the interests of the nation,
right?
Not the state, right? The state is trying to replace the nation. So the state rules over something else. And, nobody voted for it. There hasn't been enough suffering to get enough pushback. You had pushback down the states twice now. And the people in charge have basically said, we're not having it. We're going to freeze you out. It's
right.
Just that's getting difficult to do. That's why I say Musk doesn't have anywhere to go. He's not gonna die on that hill. He'll back off.
Yeah, he'll back off. He's sorry, I'm just having major camera problems here tonight, guys. The blurriness is it's horrendous here. I'm really sorry, guys, about this.
Really?
Oh,
you look great here. It looks fine here.
Oh, it's so blurry.
Yeah. Mind you, it looks like it's frozen. I'm hearing you, but I can't see. I can't.
Oh, Rumble does that all the time. You have to
okay.
refresh, because they usually send you off to another video.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's my lucky day for them to do that.
Yeah, people
I'm just refreshing it right now.
Yeah, people get sent off to other videos all the time.
You are. You're moving.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah, that's good. It could be a radio show. We could do a podcast. Maybe that's what we need to do. Make this a pod being like a podcast. And then you don't even need the camera anymore. And there's probably less censorship too.
Yeah.
Like most of the people on here have never been on camera. We don't know what they look like. I've been on camera at your place a couple times. Beyond that, why punish people?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, it's all good. I try to answer that question from Vancouver. I just think it is one of those situations where, and I hate to hear this, it pisses me off to hear this, things have to get worse for they get better. You've got a lot of real estate problems in China right now, and they've had to do some economic stimulus too. So you may see a situation where a lot of overseas investors have to repatriate their capital, and you may find a lot of these properties being dumped on the market. Because in the end, that would be a financial neutron bomb too.
Dude, they're estimating 4.6 million. Back in 2015 or 2016, we were already saying there was 1.7 million vacant properties. And that idiot Trudeau is complaining about Canadians with Airbnbs, complaining about Airbnbs, and blaming Canadians for Airbnbs. There's only 200,000 Airbnbs. And we're looking at about 4 million empty Chinese-owned properties. So right now, back then it was 1.7 million. Now it's about 4 million empty properties.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I mean they want to park their money somewhere outside of China and somewhere they perceive to be safe. And obviously, between 2010 and 2020, it was a surefire 10 to 20% return on your money. What money markets were paying those kind of interest rates, And when you've got a mania like we have, it's liquid. You could turn it back into cash in 30 days.
Right.
No problem at all. So it made sense.
In 2016, we were reporting, and a Chinese like realtor with a family was trying to sue me. This was this is when I was in Vancouver. So this was 2015. We were reporting on a property that flipped between two corporations 46 times.
Yeah.
So the property was sold to one corporation, a numbered company, a Chinese-owned numbered company, and then it flipped back to the other property, to the other owner. And then it flipped back again to the other owner, and it flipped back to the other. So they actually laundered close to $46 million from those two corporations, selling and buying the property back and forth to the same people, and they kept laundering money through.
Yeah.
So that's between two properties.
Just to put money through the system. Yeah.
So they would sell it to the other corporation that they owned, and then sell it back to the other corporation that they owned, and they just kept cleaning money, selling that property. And that property ended up becoming, I remember that house, $7.1 million, and it was a teardown, and half of it was burnt down, and it had a collapsed roof. You could buy that same house in that condition in a semi-decent area of Florida or Alabama or maybe Georgia with more land for about 25, 30 grand because of the condition of the house.
Yeah, they weren't concerned about the wealth effect on everyone else. I mean, we're foreigners to them.
Yeah.
You know, they're here playing the ugly American like Americans used to do in the rest of the world, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just they see it as turnabout, and they're coming over here, and they're trying to establish their own colonies within our place.
And India's doing the same thing. India's doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they want to establish themselves here, to be sure. And I mean, they, to an extent, they have, but ultimately, it will depend on the the average people of Canada and America, how long they tolerate that.
Right.
And I guess they just haven't lost enough. I mean, where boomers are concerned, they're comfortable. They're going to be comfortable all the way to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be their descendants that have to deal with the mess. Mm-hmm. Overall, and that's, of course, not all boomers are like that. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
The bad ones, we're all quite familiar with them, and sadly I think they're about 2/3. So they hold most of the 51% of the wealth in the Western world, and they've looked the other way while this is going on, because I mean, it was good money for them too. I mean, why wouldn't you take the money? We'd like to think we wouldn't be like that, but,
Take the paper.
It is what it is. Take the paper. Yeah. Plato plomo.
Yeah. Take the paper.
Like, take the money, or, we'll burn your house, or we'll destroy it some other way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rich libtards mostly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They're not, they haven't lived in the real world for a very long time. And they just can't relate to it at all, and they're very idealistic, and unfortunately, maturity has not cured them of that.
Sophia Anderson just emailed me. Oh, well, she emailed me 20 minutes ago. Sophia Anderson, she's from Visby, Sweden. She said that she visited Halifax, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, and she realized that the up-and-coming trendy areas were predominantly Chinese people in fancy BMWs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them are they made good money in China, and they got it out.
Yep, they got their money out into Canada and impoverished the Canadians. And what's funny about it, I was reading that article back in 2016 on trends in the housing market, how Chinese people were making fun of us at this housing retreat, that they were showcasing condos in Vancouver in China. And people in China were buying condo units in Vancouver, but they were in China, but they were making fun of us, saying that we can't even afford to get into our own markets. And then the next week, they made an apology. They apologized on the media, saying they were sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, apologies don't cut it, right? Yeah, we're sorry we impoverished the youth of our country, but we're not going to help you. But sorry.
So
anyway, my cruise ship is leaving in 2 days, so I got to go back to the coast. It's just, yeah.
So
it's rough, man. It's rough.
It is very rough.
It has been for a while.
And I'm worried about my kids, bro. My kids, like, I have to find a way where I could put them into some sort of an economy where all they have to do is have a decent job so they could pay their way through life and not have to worry about, you know what I mean, Supreme? That's what I'm so worried about my kids, you know? I'm so worried about my kids. You have no idea. This is the one thing that keeps me up at night.
Yeah, same here. I got kids out there too. Yeah, I'm concerned about them. I give them the best advice I could, and I try to keep their spirits up and say it's not going to stay like this. I mean, most of the period that we're talking about, they were just coming of age in it.
Yeah, they were.
And and they're, hopefully whatever the denouement is, will come along soon enough. They'll still be young enough to capitalize on the opportunities that emerge, and there will be opportunities. There absolutely will be. Yeah, something's going to blow. They're doing everything they can to maintain the status quo, which means, keep us as screwed as they've screwed us.
The Walking Journey from Conroe, Texas wants to know who benefits from all this.
Well, I mean, we talked about certain demographics who've done very well from this over the last 30, 40 years. Obviously, the people that are bringing money in and snatching stuff up to circulate their, ill-gotten gains, or at least maybe it's not even ill-gotten, but they want to protect it from the countries they come from. They're definitely benefiting. Most of the poorer ones from those countries that come over here are not. Mm-hmm. They're indentured servants.
But a lot of these people coming in from these countries are getting the six-figure government jobs here. And they keep saying Canadians don't want these jobs.
No, that's bullshit. Of course they want those jobs. Either they're not advertised and they don't know they exist, or the resumes are being thrown in the garbage. And it's just gaslighting. Oh, nobody wants to do those jobs. Well, not for the money you're offering and the hours you're demanding.
Oh, no, we're talking about six-figure banking jobs that Canadian...
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I get that. But no, there's plenty of people in Canada that were qualified for those jobs. Mm-hmm. Right? This is an active replacement campaign. And to seize and maintain the political high ground, you can still continue to call it a democracy, but it isn't now. The guy in charge of the country had 22% or 30% of the popular vote. Mm-hmm. And the popular vote, we only have 50% electoral turnout in this country. So 15% of people elected our dictator. Mm-hmm. It's never been a democracy in Canada. But the status quo generally, benefited enough people that, they're all for it. They're fine with supporting it because, and the demonization of one group against another. Mm-hmm. Like when the truckers went to Ottawa, what did Trudeau have to say about them? Every politically correct trope, he called them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but we all allowed this shit to happen by not saying no. We've said no plenty. The problem is what exactly you're saying no to that won't get you called one of those words and possibly cost you your job.
A racist.
Oh, racist. That's right. Yeah,
racist means no. It doesn't mean it. That word's long gone. That's.
It's lost its power for the most part.
Heck, even neo-Nazi means nothing anymore.
No, Nazi's been thrown around for so long. No, it doesn't mean anything anymore. It just means, you don't agree with us, therefore your future and your career. And that's the thing about these people. They won't just go after you. They'll go after your family too.
Yeah.
They'll go after your family too. They're absolutely unprincipled. It's disgusting.
Ross Perot.
Yeah, well, Ross Perot, yeah. The giant sucking sound of jobs going to Mexico, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I hate everyone equally, yeah. Except you guys. You're great.
Look, we got a really good 100-man army here, right? We've been working hard. We've been here with each other.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you like the revamp of the show, Supreme? Is this seem more fun?
Yeah, I think it's more linear. Yeah, I mean every good talk show has a format.
Did you like that?
This is the way to go.
Did you like that email that lady wrote me? Holy crap! She has to put furniture behind her door. In that island she lived in. That was the one where they had 7,000 migrants come in 2 days, and Wikipedia even confirms that. I got the Wikipedia post to confirm that. They're going nuts on that Italian island. What the hell is going on? Holy shit. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, who sent them there? I mean, in the end, oh my God, there's migrants. Okay, yes, when they're right in your face, and you got to put furniture to keep them from getting in your house and stealing or raping or whatever the else they might do, or just hey, you got any water? Right? Like who brought them here? Who
This is
wrote
the
the check?
Italian island of
Who bought them?
Lampedusa, and
Lampedusa. Yeah. Who bought the boat? Who gave them life jackets and cell phones?
well, here it is, folks. The
That's who
images.
you want to find. Who stamped the paper to do this?
So
That's who we want to find. I mean, you want to know who to shoot first? Yeah, get those names and addresses.
So,
Yeah,
island of
that our
6,000.
population increases by 4 million in 2 days. That would be the equivalent. Yeah. Oh, we've got 4 or 5 million extra people in this country since Trudeau came into office.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need them. We never needed them. We didn't need any of them. I don't care how qualified they are. We didn't need them. Go make your own country a paradise.
So here it is. Let's go back.
I'm not saying anything new. I won't go on with that. But
Let's go back to our 2016 article we covered on the channel. Canada wants more Chinese workers, students, and tourists, immigration minister says. So they open up to 500,000 visas because the Chinese bring in more money, and they like to live in certain places in Canada. And right here it is, 500,000 a year. So when you go to Canada immigration status, you barely see any Chinese coming in through immigration. But they're coming in as investors. So they're not being labeled as immigrants, the Chinese. They're coming in as investors. So Canada has been moving in 500,000 per year for the last 7-8 years now. And we would like to get more Chinese migrants across the country, says McMillan. The Chinese bring a lot of money and they support our infrastructure. So...
yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, they bring money into the Canadian economy. Well, okay, money laundering into real estate. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the green line goes up. That's all they care about. So their green line goes up. Your green line isn't going up, and neither is mine, but theirs is.
So
they, it's a bad scene. It's a bad scene all around. I mean, the whole Commonwealth, America, Europe. Well, Europe is withering on the vine. Good Lord, this war certainly hasn't helped. But the answer is the same. Personally, make yourself as anti-fragile as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Keep track of the people around you. If you can find fellow travelers, as it were, within 50 miles, try to get together. Try to organize. I mean, these people organize, and no one stops them and interferes with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're able to do the things they're doing.
All right, Supreme. Yeah. Let's wrap it up together, and we'll see if we get we'll open some lines here. It looks like some people are trying to call into the show, so we'll get you back on as soon as possible. I really appreciate you coming on and discussing this Musk angle for us. I normally don't tell you what to talk about on the show, but I just wanted to nib this one in the bud and kind of see what you thought about it.
Yeah, I think he's going to back off. I don't think, anything they want to do in terms of bringing people in from wherever, they should be doing that back room. Trying to sell that as a policy to people who specifically voted against mass immigration was a really, really stupid move on his part. And he can take some people's verified badges on Twitter. That's not going to solve his problem.
Right.
So I think he's going to back off. And I think J.D. Vance and probably Steve Bannon and some other guys are going to sit him down and remind him that, his attitude didn't do anything to help South Africa where he came from.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's part why that place is such a shithole now, too. Sorry for the vernacular.
It's okay.
But,
it's okay.
Yeah. Great to interact, Mike, and with everybody. And I'll see you in the comments. And if we're not gathering together for New Year's, then, here we go.
Yep.
Continue to prepare and stay strong.
God bless you.
The math doesn't support this. It's not going to last. Nope. What it's going to turn into, I don't know. But let's just hang together and we'll figure it out, guys. God bless you all.
God bless, Supreme.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, that is Supreme Canon on Mike in the Night. It's always good to hear from him. Sometimes we speak over each other, but it happens because, again, it's just the format of the show is a tough format to kind of chisel away at through the hours just to make sure everything runs smooth.